Good morning. My name is Brent Kellum, and this is my diversity plan that I have for EFD 552. I'm going to be talking a little bit. I've got 4 goals that I thought would be critical or beneficial for a school to help with diversity and create a better environment for their students. The first goal that I chose was increase cultural awareness. The first thing I thought about was encourage students to share their stories about their background, tell a little bit where they're from, their families, if they're from this area, if they moved into this area, things like that. Just kind of share, let students get to know them through their stories. Also invite speakers from all different cultures to talk at your school. These could be community leaders, things like that, people that have grew up in this town, moved on to do other things, and have been successful in their ventures. The second, encourage faculty to share their experiences with their students. Encourage your faculty to kind of tell about their life experiences, things they've seen, things they've done, to kind of give students an idea about what life may hold for them. Also, encourage your students to research their ancestry. Get them to find out where they came from, what their ancestors were like, where were they from, what did they do, things like that. Because we all know that not everybody normally stays in one spot. So those kids can find out where their ancestors moved here from or what brought them to this community, things like that. Another thing would be have a culture day at school. Have students, dress in a certain attire if they're from a certain culture, or Food's always a big thing that kind of brings cultures together, some kind of a mesh of things. The last one I thought of was discuss Ellis Island. Ellis Island, being a history teacher, is a big part of our country, I think, and I think everyone should know about that. I think everyone should know that this was it was a huge deal for our country to be where it's at today. Everybody coming into Ellis Island, immigrating there to Ellis Island before they come into the United States and things like that. So I thought that would be an important thing for students to understand and know about. The second goal, be sure curriculum is aligned to promote success for all demographics. So basically what we need to do is check for discrepancies when it comes to demographic or part of a curriculum. For example, does this race or ethnicity struggle with this part of our curriculum more than the others, or this gender, or things like that? What can we do to make that better? What can we do to improve that to where it's kind of an even keel for everybody and everybody understands or is grasping the information completely at once? The second thing, curriculum should be designed for successful learning. Again, this should be something that everyone kind of gets something out of. You don't have just a group of kids who are learning at a higher rate or anything like that. Everybody's understanding the lessons or the material and things like that. They're getting the concept of it. Curriculum should be both audio and visual. This is something I think in history plays a huge part, because in my class we have to see a lot of visual stuff. We have to see the culture, see how it's done, or see how people lived in those times, and hearing, it could be anything from songs or anything from poems or stories, things like that were created at that time, that kind of brings that culture to life, or brings that situation to where they can actually see it in their mind and understand it. Oh, okay, I understand because I can see this hieroglyphic or how it was written or things like that. You can understand these types of things through the audio and visual part. And again, curriculum should also be modified, should easily be modified for students that receive special education services. For example, we should be able to take a lesson and break it down into a more special education friendly type lesson to where those kids can grasp it, or we can modify it to where the work may be it may not necessarily be as challenging, but it's still challenging those students to where they're understanding the work and they're getting a good concept or good grasp on the material. The third thing, create a more parental and community involved involvement. Encourage more community leaders to come to your school and be involved in your school. Let them know what's going on. Encourage them to come in and see projects that you have going on, or see activities that are going on in your school, and encourage them to be a part of it. Let them know that they're important to your school. They're just as important to your school as your school is to them whenever these students get out and go looking for jobs and things like that. Have an open line of communication with your parents. Always keep your parents informed. Let them know what's going on at your school at all times. Let them know when they're having activities, when there's tests, when there's homework assignments, things like that. Just keep them in the loop on everything. Also, this is another one that I hear a lot about from parents whenever they come in. Well, I don't know how to help so-and-so with their homework. I don't understand it. So I thought it would be a good thing to offer almost like a tutoring type deal with parents and teachers, kind of get together and kind of explain assignments to them and see if they can get them to understand the concept a little bit, and maybe they can take that home and give their kid a little bit more help at home, or the help that they may need that they're lacking on. Create more parent-kid activities for your kids at school. Have a family movie night. Have a something that brings them together and gets them involved in your school. Make them want to be a part of your school. Make them want to be a part of your kid, not only at home, but when they go to school. Help them get, I guess, motivation to be more involved. Give them a reason to want to come up to the school, besides one of their kids being in trouble and they're coming up to defend or find out what's going on. Give them a positive reason to be involved. The fourth thing, increase cultural diversity on our faculty and staff. The first thing I thought of was create a team building event for faculty and staff. Give them something that doesn't feel like a work related event. It's something where everybody kind of just gets together and hangs out and gets to know one another on a different level, besides just being teachers and being members of that faculty. Give them a reason to just be themselves around each other. Have small group discussions to allow everyone to get to know each other better at the beginning of the year. I think this is a big thing, because I know in a lot of schools, our school, not necessarily because we're a small school, but in the bigger schools, you may go through a year and not meet all of the teachers. And to me, that's not really a good thing, because you need everybody in the faculty needs to know everyone on some level, besides just be able to put a name with a face or things like that. Be able to know a little bit more about them outside of work. And encourage teachers to get to know their students. Encourage them to take the time and talk to their kids. Hey, how was your weekend? How was the ball game? Or how did, your dance recital go? Things like that. Just give the teachers kind of some responsibility as far as getting to know their kids, not only as, well, they do well in my history class, or they do well in math class. Let them get to know their kids on a different level, professionally. But these are just some ideas that I thought would be good to increase, I guess, more diversity in our school. They would give us more awareness. They would give the community a reason to be more involved in our school and things like that. And I think that it's something that needs to be addressed, something that needs to be looked at, and better ways can come up. You can come up with better things, better ideas. But for the most part, I think something needs to be done to kind of give us a different outlook on things. Thank you.